Hello, welcome to my first Clear My Shelves video. My name is Paige, welcome to my channel, and welcome to the first video of me trying to read all of the books on my TBR shelf. So my goal this year is to get my TBR shelf to be under 80. Ideally, I'd like it to be under 50 if I can manage it, but I just know that I'm going to be buying books throughout the year. I'm not really putting myself in a book buying ban, but I still do want to try and read as many of the books from my shelf as possible. We're starting off the year with 145 books, so it's going to take quite a lot of reading to get it to be around 80. I believe I need to read about 60 or so books, but I know myself and I'm gonna read a book and then bring in a book, and it's just gonna be a whole thing. But in this series, we're going to tackle 5 books at a time. They're all going to have some sort of theme that strings them all together, and we're just going to go from there. But I figured the easiest way to get into this series would be to start with the shortest books that I have. And I know technically these aren't the absolute shortest, but I looked at all of the books that I have. I tried to find audiobook options for them through my library apps and stuff, and I just sorted them by the ones I wanted to read. A couple of these are on my January TBR, and we're just going from there. So they might not be the absolute shortest, but they are some of the shortest books that I have to read. It makes it easier for me. If I start off quick, succeed in the first video, it'll just set me on a trend, right? That's what I'm hoping for. So let's talk about these books. We have Incantation by Alice Hoffman. This one, I believe the audiobook is only 2 hours, which really surprises me because it looks like a normal sized book. I would say it feels bigger than a novella, so I don't know why the audiobook is only 2 hours, but hey, we're gonna go with it. And I don't really know much about it, but I did get it out of a little free library, and I've kind of been putting it off. It's been on the back of my mind to just put it back in a little free library and get a new book. But we're not gonna do that. We're gonna read it. It's only 2 hours worth of my time. If it's awful, that's okay. We are also going to read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I need to pass this along to my mom. She likes Colleen Hoover books. She really liked It Ends With Us, and I told her I have this one on my shelf. I got it on sale somewhere, and she said, okay, I want to read that, so I need to read it and pass it along. And I think the audiobook for that one is like 7 hours or so. So again, not a really long read, especially at 2 times speed. Then we have Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus by Dusti. This one my mom actually picked out. I was telling her that I wanted to have more books with diversity in them, and one of the forms of diversity that I wanted to have was more disability representation. So she was with me at Barnes & Noble and saw this on a local author's shelf table, that's the word, and saw that one of the main characters is born without arms, so we decided to pick it up, and it's by a local author, so that's pretty exciting. And I think the audiobook for this one is, again, like 7-ish hours or so. I absolutely hate touching this book. It's another little free library find, and I've washed it like multiple times, like take Clorox wipes to it, and it's just sticky, so I really don't like that feeling. But I don't really know much about it. It feels like it looks thriller-esque, right? It just looks a little ominous, but I don't know. It could be a romance for all I know, because I'm not about to read the back of it. You'll find out when I find out. And lastly, we have The Bodyguard by Katherine. My mom read this when I picked it out for her. She loved it, and she let me have it so that I can read it and love it too. And all I know about it is that the female is the bodyguard. That's all I need to know, right? But that's all for the intro. Let's go ahead and read some of these books. Okay, so I'm at the halfway mark, or a little bit over halfway, of The Bodyguard, and I am having a good time. I cannot hear what I'm saying. I am listening to it right now as I am trying to clean the mess that is my room. Let me show you what that looks like. I don't really know why I clean this way, but I basically throw everything into a pile and then put everything away. So it's taken me a long time. So I have gotten quite far into this one, and I'm having a really good time. I'm really liking our main character. I honestly didn't know her name until like literally this last chapter. I went, oh, her name's Hannah? Didn't know that. And I keep getting the male's character. I think it's Jack. I always think his name's something else too. So I'm not doing the best on like the minor details, but I'm getting a lot of like the plot, and it's really fun. It's just like a fast-paced rom-com with like a slightly heavier elements because our main male character, no, what's his name? The hero. His mother has cancer and she's sick, and Hannah, her mother, has recently passed away. So there's like grief and illness that is in this that makes it a little bit heavier, but it's still really funny. Like, Hannah got scared by a cow. And I remember my mom laughing about that when she read it in this vlog. And it's just like little silly things like that where they've fought over who's gonna sleep on the tile floor, or him leaving dirty clothes around. So like there's like little things that they're bickering over, and it just feels like a really cute relationship. And I really like that Jack, even though he's a famous person, he sees Hannah as a person, and he seems to really respect her, even though I don't want to say like she doesn't realize that, but I think she kind of realizes that he respects her and treats her better than she anticipated he would because he is a star. But I'm having a really fun time. It's really cute. It's really compulsively readable. So I'm gonna keep reading this. I will definitely not be finishing cleaning my room. I don't know why I chose to start it at like 7 o'clock at night, and it is now 9:30. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I will let you know when I get to the end of this. Maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight. We shall see. I was uploading all of my camera footage from the past couple of days and realized I did not update you on The Bodyguard, which I finished at like midnight last night. So that's why I didn't really update. But it is now almost 1 in the morning right now, and gotta do this real quick. I ended up really liking it. It was super fun, super funny. I enjoyed Jack as a character, and there was this one moment towards the end that I remember my mom, when she was reading it, she kind of looked at me and went, I don't know what's happening right now. And I got to that part and I didn't know what was happening. I was so confused, and it all made sense after a minute. I had to think about it really hard, but then it finally made sense. But it was really fun. I kind of considered giving it 5 stars, but I don't fully feel like it is a 5-star read for me. It's really sweet. I really like the characters together. I liked their banter. I liked the way that they treated each other. I just felt like their love story was too quick for me. It's not quite insta love, but I also feel like they fell in love within a couple of months, which I guess is real. People can do that, but it felt faster than I wanted it to. But I really liked the family dynamics in this. I liked their more vulnerable, how do you say that word? Vulnerable sides, and their like tragic past in some regards. They just worked really well together. So I really did like it, but I think I am settling on a 4-star. And I was gonna hold up a book. I'll just insert a picture here. But I was thinking that if you liked book lovers, this would be one that you could read and you would enjoy it. It has a similar, heavier undertone, I guess, to it in some ways. And I really did like Jack and the way that he treated, oh my god, what's her name? Is it Hannah? No. It is Hannah! I got it! How he treated Hannah and everything. And I felt like he wasn't quite similar to Charlie from Book Lovers, but he became a book boyfriend, and Charlie is my #1 book boyfriend. So that's probably a few reasons why I would recommend this if you liked Book Lovers. So I also feel like this one would be like you could flip it both ways. Like if you like this and you haven't read Book Lovers, you could go ahead and read that too. But yeah, it's 1 in the morning. I need to wash my makeup off my face, even though I've wiped it off mostly, and I need to go to bed. So I will check in with you on whatever other book I'm reading in this vlog. I don't even remember at this point. I'm so tired. Hello, good morning. So today I'm going to try and finish 2 books actually for this vlog. I'm going to try and finish It Starts With Us and Incantation, but I need to do a lot of laundry right now, and I also need to clean up a few things that I've just left scattered and cluttered around my room. I don't know if I'm going to show any B-roll of that. I just need to get it done. So I'm going to pop in my AirPods and get to cleaning, and I will give you a rundown on how I feel on either of the books. I think I'm going to start with It Starts With Us, so that will be what you hear about first. Alright, here we go. 2 books down. I started with It Starts With Us, and it was a book. It was a book, it was written, and I don't think it should have. Essentially, I feel like Colleen Hoover decided that she had a little bit of a one-shot fanfic in her brain and wanted to write that to make a little bit more money, you know? So didn't love it. It really did nothing. It did nothing. To be completely honest, I feel like both Atlas and Lily in this were just bland characters, and the events that happen in book 1, I feel like she tried to make up for some of the areas where book 1 fell flat, things that she hadn't addressed fully because she didn't realize that they needed to be addressed, and then she still didn't really do anything with them. So people who were absolutely terrible in book 1 and really should have had a lot more come into them had nothing come into them in this one, really. And I actually feel like Atlas in this was so perfect to the point where he was not a believable character. I just think that it was fan service a little bit to write him so flawless, where he really had nothing that made him an interesting character. Like, there were no hiccups with him and his arc. He was just like the perfect, most supportive person that he could be at all times, no matter what. And so he didn't feel like a real character, and the relationship that him and Lily had didn't feel like a real relationship. So I say, if you absolutely loved book 1 and you just want to be in this world again, you can try it out, but I don't feel like it was worth the read. I read it just because I need to pass this along to my mom, because she does like a lot of Colleen Hoover's books, so she can give this a go and see if she likes it better than I did. She liked book 1 better than I did, so yeah, I just don't think it was worth it. And there were a lot of like repeated scenes from book 1, like the full diary entries that were in book 1 came back into this, and it made no sense. It made no sense why that was a decision in this book, because we've already read those things. This is supposed to be new content and we just got the same content, and yeah, whatever. I didn't recommend it. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the next book. I also then picked up Incantation, and this one ended up surprising me. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's a really short story. It was like a 2-hour audiobook, so I finished it in about an hour, a little over an hour, and I don't know how much I can say because it is so short, but it's about a girl named Estrella, and she's living in Spain during the Spanish Inquisition, and she discovers a lot of family secrets during this time, and then she is betrayed by somebody that she didn't think that she would be betrayed by. And it's a pretty jam-packed story that moves really quickly. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, there's a lot of content that happens in it. She goes through a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, but nothing's really graphic, so it is definitely more geared towards younger readers, like high school age, I would say, maybe even middle school. So it's readable in that sense, but there is a lot of darker subject matter in this one, but it was surprisingly pretty good. I enjoyed my time with it. The writing was really beautiful. I've never read an Alice Hoffman before, so I was surprised by the writing. I ended up really liking this one. But I need to read another book, and I might start one tonight. It is only 10:15 and I don't have a substitute job tomorrow. I've been looking for days and there's like nothing besides boys PE, and I am not allowed to sub for boys PE, and I wouldn't want to sub for boys PE. So I think I'm gonna try and read. I have 2 books left for this vlog to go. Which one do I want to do? It's between these final 2. This one is so disgusting feeling, but this is If I Was Your Girl, and this is Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus. This one, I know the audiobook is much shorter, and I'm gonna be honest that I don't super want to read either of them right now. So you know what? I think I'm gonna read something else that's not included in this vlog, but I will check in with you when I'm about to get started on either one of these. Hopefully I'll finish them in the next week or so, but I don't know. I'm not feeling this. I think I need to go and pick up another book right now. So check in with you soon. So I never updated you on my reading of this, but I ended up really enjoying it. It was super fun, super silly. Our main character is just a really funny character. She tends to make up stories about why she doesn't have any arms, and she makes them more and more elaborate and wild. The mystery that's in this one I didn't really love or really follow, but at the end it made some sense, but it was still just kind of lackluster. It wasn't as big of a reveal as I expected it to be, but it was still a kind of cutesy story. And the best friend that she has in this, I cannot remember his name right now. Is it Connor? Yeah, I think it's Connor. He has Tourette's and a lot of insecurities about that. She also meets another boy who is plus sized, and he has a lot of insecurities about that as well. So they all have their own little insecurities, but they form a little cute friendship. I will say I'm not sure if the representation in this is the most authentic, because it doesn't seem like the author has any disabilities herself based on what I've read on her author bio. But for a story, it was cute. It's a cutesy little read, and I don't know if I'll pick up the next book in the series just because I felt like this one wrapped it up pretty nicely. But cute characters. I feel like I could pass this along to my younger cousin and she could have a fun time reading this one. So I give it 4 stars and I feel like that's a success. So I guess that means that I just need to finish If I Was Your Girl, and then we'll be done with this vlog. So I will let you know when I get to that one. It might be a little bit. It might be a little bit. I just have so many other books that I really want to read in the month, and some for my TBR that I haven't started, but we'll get there, hopefully. I'll check in soon. I subbed for middle school social studies today. It was all 7th grade. First half of the day, great. I showed up and found out that the prep period was the first hour of the day, so I got some reading done. And the first couple of classes were fine, but those last ones, oh my gosh, that was not cool. And I'm gonna be at that school again next Tuesday in the same grade, I think, but a different teacher, so it should be a different group of students. But oh man, that was not fun. But I did make it to about halfway through of If I Was Your Girl, and I can finally talk about what this is about. So this is actually written by Meredith Russo, who is a trans author, and we have a main character who's a trans woman, and she's in high school, so a trans girl. Her name's Amanda, and she had a really bad experience in Atlanta, Georgia, and so she had to move away from her mom into her dad's house. And her dad's, I don't want to say like not a great guy, but he has some issues, and so her relationship with him is not the greatest. But she is at school and just really traumatized by her past experience, so she's having a really hard time wanting to make friends and be open with them. But she is forming a group of friends, and she's just like teetering on the line of not knowing how much she can share and how she can be like truly herself. But I'm having a good time so far. What is very weird though is that the audiobook and the actual physical book are not always matching up. Like there'll be chapters that will say in the book 11 years earlier, but on the audiobook will say 13 years earlier, and there'll be complete paragraphs and sentences that are missing from the physical book that are in the audiobook. So it's very strange, and I don't know why that happens, but it's something that I'm noticing, and I am trying to follow along, and then all of a sudden we're like a couple paragraphs later, so it's a little bit weird. But I am enjoying it. I am going to try and finish it tonight because I'm still behind on my reading for this month and I need to catch up, and my battery's dying, so I will check in when I'm finished. Well, this took a turn for the shitty. I finished it and I'm just upset. I'm upset it took a turn that I didn't like. There were a few things like at the beginning that I was kind of questioning. I felt like the dialogue was a little strange at times. The writing wasn't always perfect, but I was still enjoying the story as a whole. It was nothing I've never heard before, but I was still enjoying it for the most part. And then it took a turn at the end for no reason, and the character who does something very wrong in this, I don't understand why it was that character who had to do that. There were plenty of other characters that could have been chosen to do the really crappy thing, and then another awful thing happens, like back to back to back to back. It was just like all of this stuff stacked on top of each other all at once, and it felt pointless because nothing really happened to those characters who did really terrible things right at the very end. Like you don't hear from them again. They just disappear, and I didn't like that. So I did write a Goodreads review with a few other things that I really disliked about this book, but you can read that. I have it like marked as spoilers if you don't want to be spoiled for it, but I'm mad. This sucked. What the heck? What the heck? We did pretty well the rest of this vlog, but this one just ruined it. But that being said, we have made it to the end of this vlog, and I have officially completed five books off of my TBR shelf, which does bring us down to 140 books, which is beautiful and wonderful, and we're super duper excited about that. So I'm gonna end this here, and I'm going to continue reading books for my next vlog in this series, and that should be out in the next couple of weeks or so. There's probably going to be another video out in the meantime, so if you want to talk to me about books, I have my Instagram and Discord linked in the description, and I will see you in the next one. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye.